Well, I mean, for me, it depends. I would say that sex is a biological, emotional, social, spiritual, legal, financial experience.
Biological?
Yes.
Biological, social, emotional, spiritual, legal experience. How is it all of those things?
Yes.
How is it all of those things? Sex is physical, of course, because the act of intercourse, penis to vagina, vagina, mouth to vagina, vagina to mouth, mouth to anus, anus to penis. Okay, so it's physical. It's also physical because a woman can give birth. So it's a physical act that occurs between two individuals. How is it social? It's social because you have to interact with someone in order to have sex with them. So it's social. It also becomes social when you are sending sex messages to someone over the phone, or you're emailing sexual images or sending text messages that are sexually explicit. It becomes social at that point. So for example, if you're in love today, right, with that woman or that man, and you break up with him or her tomorrow, right, they get mad at you, they decide to send your sexy image or your words over the internet, it becomes social at that point, okay? It's also social because it's the way that we interact with individuals in a capacity to make babies or to build relationships. It is economical or financial because if you get pregnant, it costs to have a baby, it costs to take care of a baby. It's also financial because if you end up in a child support case because you got pregnant after a one-night stand, or you got pregnant because you were in love with that person for 2 weeks and then you break up later, right? It becomes a legal situation because you may have to take that person to court. It also is economical or financial because if you need some type of governmental assistance at that point because you're unemployed, right? Economical. How is it spiritual? Because a lot of us may have been brought up in Christian homes. And if you've been brought up in a Christian home like I was, the message was, keep your panties up, right? And your legs closed, and your skirt down. No sex before marriage. So now you have to try to reconcile your spirituality with the fact that your hormones are going out of control. They're raging like crazy, so what do? At that point, your spirituality comes into play because you have to make a decision based on your morals and your values, right? How is it emotional? So now you arrived on college campus a freshman. You see this person that you just fall head over heels in love with. You know what I'm saying? You're going to all the frat parties, you're hanging out, trying to get his attention, trying to get her attention. Finally, you decide to have sex with this person. You give it up after, a few weeks. Next thing you know, the next day they don't call you back. Now you feeling some kind of way, you all in your feelings, right? Emotional, right? So those are some of the ways that sex are spiritual, emotional, financial, legal, and physical. So people don't think about those things. All you think about is that little 5 or 10 minutes of pleasure that you maybe get from that physical act. But you need to start thinking beyond that few minutes. And hopefully that 5 or 10 minutes was pleasurable, because sometimes it's not. Then what? So you need to start thinking beyond the physical and thinking about the long-term consequences of your sexual decisions, your sexual behavior. In addition to the fact that you've had unprotected sex because you've been out drinking, your hormones are raging, you make a bad decision because you're under the influence of some substance, right? Because when you got to the party at 8 o'clock, you hadn't been drinking, but by 10 o'clock, after a few shots of Patron or some Ciroc, now you're ready to get it on, right? And you might make some decisions that you would not have otherwise made if you weren't under the influence. Now you have an unprotected sex because when you are intoxicated, your fine motor skills are messed up. Your fine motor skills are what? Your fingers. So if you can think to put the condom on, you're trying to figure out which 10 fingers on one hand, which 2 of them you need to use to put the condom on, right? And so sometimes if you can make it that far, you may get the condom on or you may not. But if you don't, now you're having sex with somebody whose sexual status you don't know. HIV is real. No cure. Sexually transmitted infections are real. Some of them you can cure, some of them you cannot cure. Now you got to look at a treatment bill, right? So these are some things that you need to start thinking about before you engage in sexual activity, in addition to the fact that when you've been drinking, you cannot give informed consent. What does that mean?
You're not giving the person permission to have sex with you.
Absolutely not, even if you are saying yes. Because informed consent, you have to be in your right mind state. And when you are intoxicated, you are not in your right frame of mind. right? So you need to look at that, ladies and gentlemen, before you start having sex, before you start drinking. Because I don't know if you all are aware, but campus sexual violence is a huge issue right now. It's such a huge issue that the government is pushing a lot of college campuses to be in compliance with providing programs around campus sexual violence. So just so you know, you must be able to give or receive informed consent before you move forward with a sexual act from somebody. Like I said, that's not under the influence of a substance. That's not informed consent, just so you know. I know I took it a little bit far, but did that answer your question?
That was some definition.
Right. Hey, you got to give them everything so they can make informed decisions. I'm all about making healthy, informed decisions. And you can't make an informed decision if you don't have all the information. There's no way you can do it, you know?
Next question.